The Ghana Police Service is opening its defense at the Human Rights Division of the Accra High Court on a case brought against it by DSP Gifty Mawenyega Theodore. On Thursday, DSP Gifty Mawenyega Theodore was dismissed 3 years ago by the police administration. The case involving DSP Theodore began on September 27, 2011, when one Nanama Martins was arrested for possessing large parcels suspected to be cocaine, which later turned out into a bicarbonate or baking soda. DSP Theodore was linked to the disappearance of the cocaine and was interdicted and subsequently dismissed from the service. She was then the deputy commander in charge of the Commercial Crimes Unit. Theodore has sued the Ghana Police Service for wrongful dismissal and is praying the court, among other things, to compel the service to reinstate her. The executive director of the Ghana Center for Regional Integration in Africa, Professor SKB Asante, has expressed anger about the current level of corruption ravaging the country. The 2013 State of the Union report, which was launched today, recommends Ghana to scale her actions on the African Union Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption 2003. This, Professor SKB Asante says, must move government to tackle corruption aggressively.
The State of the Union report examines Ghana's compliance with the 16 AU instruments and policy frameworks in order to address the challenges that hinder successful implementation. The findings show that, though remarkable success has been chalked in some areas, other sectors need urgent action. Tackling corruption is one of the country's biggest challenges. The report says, besides the minimalist conception of corruption, such as the abuse of public office for private gain, there have been huge amounts of state monies paid to individuals and companies without due diligence.
What is urgently needed, in my view, is an independent corruption agency, not such government-created institutions as the Financial Intelligence Center and the Economic and Organized Crimes Office, UOCO. Evidence tends to suggest that even the man talked about somewhat commendable National Anti-Corruption Action Plan will fall short of expectation if not given genuine independent from political interference. Let me stress that what is required is strong political will to break the corruption chain.
The report also recommends that the country should do more in the areas of human rights and to fight marginalization and violence against women, as well as the abuse of children, especially child labor. Implementation also remains a challenge to Ghana as far as the international conventions are concerned.
The laws must be enforced, and for the laws to be enforced, the institutions responsible for enforcement must be given the capacity and the independence to work.
Former chairman of ECOWAS Commission, Ambassador Victor Beho, who launched the report, urged government to fully implement the recommendations in the document. The State of the Union project was instituted in 2009 when 10 Pan-African civil society organizations that had met in Addis Ababa resolved to collectively monitor the conduct of AU member states and hold them accountable for the ratification and implementation of African Union decisions. Aisha Ibrahim, Joy News, Accra.
We take a short break here. When we return, we're still on News Today. Welcome back. You are watching News Today here on Joy News on Multi TV. The Finance Ministry has released what appears to be full details of utilization of the funds. The fund was what government obtained from an oversubscribed third Eurobond issue in September 2014. The $1 billion bond has a 12-year maturity with a coupon at a rate of 8.125%. The minority in Parliament has made several claims the money is not being used for its intended purpose. The funds, according to government, are being used to fund capital expenditure in the 2014 budget. A statement signed by Deputy Finance Minister Atoforsen gave its utilization as follows. An amount of $200 million was planned to be used for short-term debt refinancing. Of this amount, a total disbursement of $64,993 was transferred to pay for the maturing 3-year government bond totaling 200 million Ghana cedis on 15th October 2014, thus leaving a balance of $135.01 million on this item. Secondly, an amount of $250 million was planned to be used for Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund account. As at 24th October 2014, the total amount had been transferred into the GIIF account as a seed capital for the scheme, which will be commissioned in early 2015. Thirdly, an amount of $250 million was planned to be used to fund capital expenditure projects. As at today, a total of $140.95 million has been used to pay for various projects, leaving a balance of $135.05 million. Finally, an amount of $288.71 million was planned for counterpart funding. Nothing has been utilized so far under this component. Government has concluded a process for the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation to take over the Ghana National Gas Company, a move aimed at integrating the management of the two oil and gas establishments. A statement from the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum confirmed the consolidation of the two entities on Tuesday, December 9, 2014. Government announced plans for GNPC to take over GNGC during the 2015 budget presentation on the floor of Parliament last month. The consolidation of GNPC and GNGC will make it possible to enhance a more integrated management and continue financing of projects in the oil and gas enclave immediately. Finance Minister Seth Pepe said the consolidation of the two entities will also make it possible to ease the conditions that investors impose for the national gas aggregator and start financing projects in the oil and gas enclave immediately. The GNPC recently indicated plans to secure a $700 million loan to support its exploratory activities, a move the minority have red flagged as constituting an illegality. However, GNPC maintains its plan to secure the loan is backed by law. The Tamale Metropolitan Assembly is inaugurated the country's largest cattle market at Guyanyili, a suburb of Tamale in the northern region, to facilitate the trade of livestock between Ghana and the Sahelian countries. The cattle market, situated on a 10-acre land, is divided into ranges. Hashmin Mohammed has more.
The 10 million Ghana cedi facility has a loading bay, place of convenience, security post, and access roads to the capital. The cattle ranch is a joint project between Fada and Ngoma, a town in eastern Burkina Faso, and Tamale, two cities in a sister relation. It is aimed at establishing a linkage between butchers and Cattle Dealers Association of Tamale and Fada and Ngoma. Mayor of Tamale, Hanan Abdul Rahman Gundadao, disclosed at the inauguration that Fada and Ngoma has the largest cattle market in West Africa with a comparative advantage over Tamale, but indicated that Tamale's strategic location coupled with their potentially huge market and access to the Sahelian regions and southern part of Ghana, place it above the rest. He therefore appealed to residents of the two cities to collaborate effectively. He also appealed to all those who would be doing business at the market to abide by the rules and regulations governing the operations of the market and endeavor to pay approved tolls to the assembly. The event attracted cattle farmers, Fulanis and many people who deal in livestock in Tamale and its environs. A report by Hashmi Mohammed.
The ongoing load shedding exercise has impacted negatively on businesses and the lives of Ghanaians. Several promised by government to resolve the crisis in the past have failed to materialize. On the AM show on Thursday, December 11, 2014, colleague Roland Walker engaged the Greater Accra Regional Chairman, National Democratic Congress, Joseph Kobna Adekoka, and the National Coordinator, Nasara Club, New Patriotic Party, NPP, Kamaldeen Abdullahi. Let's listen to what they said.
At the 1 megawatt to our generation, they never did that. Tell me, what did you do? You said that we started this, and it continued. We have put practical.
And we have no.
We are just sitting here and we are going to save $500 million. You know what that can at least build one power, 110 or 120 megawatt power station. It can build it, and that will add generation to the power mix. Understand? We are talking about how to generate power. We need to generate more power, and we need to ensure that. So if you have competent men in place and you are not able to generate power, we haven't done anything. What we are doing now, we are at least asking independent producers to come on board, right? Because government alone cannot do this job. So when you go to the Tamale Enclave, you see some power there. You see the GEC, General Electric. They are putting about 1,000 megawatts. Same power by now.
That has not been put in.
The project has started. It has started. You cannot just get up one day, one morning, and put up a power plant.
It takes some time.
It takes some time.
We are told that it takes about averagely 2 years.
Yes. So if when they came, when they were in power 8 years ago, right, they had even tried to put up within that 8 years one big power plant, we'll have said thank you to them. Nil, zilch, nothing. So you can come and sit here and talk about and in his speech.
Yeah, we'll come there.
He just made said we will provide this.
You thought you were just an open-ended
He never said I'm going to do this. They never said that. Or that they will do this, and they never give you the practical solution.
But you said that first you start with appointing the right people to.
Are you telling me that the people who are working there are not Ghanaians and they are not competent?
I don't know. He's the one saying.
Who are he was mentioned Okwe, Anda, and those people. In their 8 years that they were there, these people who were ministers. Tell me, how many megawatts they add to the power mix? Tell me. You mentioned their name.
There has to be a policy decision.
Yes.
No problem.
Well, tell me.
I will tell him.
Tell me. You understand? So, Roland, when he hadn't come, I was telling him, don't let's do politics. When you start doing politics, we start scoring political points, we get nowhere, right? This government has assured the nation that by the year 2016-27, the power mix. The additional power that we need and even to export, we put them because the relevant companies that are supposed to do that are in place. What we need to power that energy is the gas that we are talking about. Just as Sankofa had been, the government had given money, GMPC are developing Sankofa fields for us to have more because one October cannot do the job. So what we need to do, we are doing it as a government. We are doing it. So for me, we are facing challenges. Nobody is saying that we are not facing challenges. We are. But if you are facing challenges and you go to sleep, you have a problem. When there's challenges and you are taking the relevant steps to ensure that those challenges get away, then that government is on track.
When you look at the front page of the Daily Graphic, then you juxtapose that to the front page of the Finder, you are caught in a web as someone who wants to talk about energy. Because we are told that about $500 million is going to be saved. Currently, as we sit, we have problem with power. We are told that the same year that the $500 million is going to be saved, we are going to have more power cuts. I'm not getting it.
Okay.
I have a bit of a problem there. I would have thought that, or one would have thought that, if $500 million is going to be saved, then where did we fall short? Can't we use that to patch up? Then we can have more power. So the story should have been that we're getting more power due to the fact that we're going to have $500 million, as it were, additional cost to us, hitherto which we hadn't got. So clearly, it points to the fact that there's leadership problem in our energy sector. Clearly, that's what it means. Because if you can envisage $500 million more, and you cannot envisage how you can get more power, but rather you are comfortable seated and telling that we're going to get more power cuts, it's crazy. Excuse my language this morning. It is. So you see, the biggest problem we have in this country is that we are so much interested in going back to the Stone Age, where we used to use stones to strike and then get fire to cook.
That's belittling the subject.
I'm not belittling it. In fact, it's a fact. I'm talking about leadership. I'm talking about people who are not decisive, people who are not foresighted, people who don't think that energy is important, and yet they are in the driver's seat. I'm talking about people who would draw a budget, having in mind that we are going to come up with a new Ministry of Power, and in that budget it's not stated. You go to the Parliament, you go and talk about your fiscal policy for the year 2015, you never mention I'm going to have problem, you just talk of energy, and you come out the next moment, you announce that there's going to be a new Minister of Power. Where is allocation coming from? So it's going to come into our supplementary budget that you were presenting later. That means you never even projected. What went into the planning? It says we all have a role to play. My role is that, yes, I pay my bills. In fact, it's prepaid. So as and when the lights goes off, the credit for it goes off. So I'm obliged to pay. Same applies to almost everybody in Ghana. Same applies to Ade. So where's my role? I paid. My role is that I vote you into power to come and help me. That the first government that was there didn't do well. That they are not good, they are bad. Granted, MPP didn't do anything. Granted, that is why Ghanaians say, okay, we gave you the mandate. So that's my role. I play the role. Then you come sit here and say we have a role to play. What role do I have to play?
Let's take a short break here. When we return, Baba Tando has sports.
I am Baba Tando. Let's talk sports now. The national under-20 team, the Black Satellites, will play Premiership side Accra Great Olympics in a friendly match on Friday, December 12th at the Accra Sports Stadium. The under-20 side is preparing for next year's African Youth Championship to be held in Senegal from March 8th to 2015, whilst Olympics are also awaiting the start of the 2014-2015 Ghana Premier League season, which has been delayed by a court case. The three-time winners of the African Youth Championships finished second at the last edition of the tournament in 2013.
You could log on to myjoyonline.com for more news updates, for more information. You could also log on to multitvworld.com for more news. My name, once again, is Gladys Osei Oredu. Thank you so much for your time.